From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
I want this to be the best environment that I can invest into for my children. I don't want them to grow up and have to experience a lot of stuff that I'm experiencing.
New at 6, a man is helping improve his community by giving people a second chance at life. The job opportunities he's creating.
We're still seeing so many people that are coming in with a servant's heart. They still want to get out there and serve their community.
How IMPD is adjusting their recruiting efforts due to the pandemic and what they want potential applicants to know. 4 years ago, 4 girls died in an arson. There are still no answers as to who is responsible. Tonight we hear from family and state police who say this is not a cold case. Thousands of Hoosiers are looking for a job during the pandemic. Tonight, employment opportunities every pet lover needs to see in our Hiring Hoosiers report. Good evening and happy Friday. Thanks for joining us here on the News at 6 on WRTV. I'm Mark Mullins. Amanda Starantino has the evening off. First tonight, we are looking ahead to our weekend forecast. It doesn't get much better than today. We could have used a little more sun, though, but temperatures reach the 60s. Good enough for some golf weather there. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts is here. Kyle, what can we expect as we head into the weekend?
Well, we're probably going to be putting the golf clubs away, Mark, because we got some big changes here for the upcoming weekend. We got temperatures that are going to start to take a tumble here. We've also got some rain chances both for Saturday and Sunday. And as far as rainfall potential, about a ½ to 1.5 inches of wet weather coming our way. It's all very light right now. As we look back into Illinois, those light showers will scoot through parts of central Indiana this evening. It's really not until about tomorrow night that we'll see some more widespread rainfall for us. Temperatures still holding on to the lower 60s in Shelbyville and Muncie, mild 57 in Indianapolis, and those temperatures will hold in the middle 50s with mostly cloudy skies this evening. Another check of that weekend coming up in a few minutes.
A Bloomington man was able to turn his life around and now is helping others do the same. WRTV's Stephanie Wade shares this special story on a local company giving people a second chance and paying it forward.
What started as one truck 5 years ago turned into 4 more and 23 employees. A true dream for Antonio Jackson that's come to fruition.
And if it's hard for us to speak good into each other, that's okay. We're not used to doing that. My day starts off at 4:30 in the morning without an alarm clock because I have a purpose. I know my purpose now.
Antonio Jackson, or AJ, knows how difficult it can be just being released from prison, nowhere to go.
In a 30-year window of my life, I did 28 years of a 30-year window.
We've had, bad times. We've had some tough breaks in life, and AJ's, he has too.
Knowing the lack of job opportunities when you have a record, AJ started Big Boys Moving Company, where a majority of his employees are also ex-felons.
It gives us a purpose, and isn't that what everybody needs, is a purpose?
They're not going to break that cycle no matter how many rehabs you put them in. No matter how many times you incarcerate them. If a person doesn't have a purpose and they don't have a plan, it's only a matter of time before this same person is coming right back through these doors.
My boss he's awesome. He always looks out for me. I don't have a ride to work or anything. He picks me up every day.
AJ and his wife Anna not only give these people jobs, but also require their employees to take classes on self-improvement and do volunteer work within the community.
It's changed me in some forms that before I had this job, I didn't know what I was capable of.
There's not anything that any of us are too good to do. We will do anything for each other and just for our job and for ourselves, you know what I mean? It shows how far we've came and what we're willing to do to be a productive member of society.
We try to make these men and women feel like you belong here, and all of us together make our community better. It makes us safer, and I'm invested into this so much because my children are growing up here.
All those years he struggled, AJ says it was his grandmother who always believed in him. Now that she's passed, he only hopes he finally made her proud.
I get joy from the knowing that all them prayers my grandmother said was not in vain.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
And to learn more about big boys moving, we'll put a link in this story at our website at WRTV.com. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department is hiring. They're looking for men and women to join their department and be part of the change they want to see in policing. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum explains how they're working to find potential applicants and the challenges they face doing that during a pandemic.
The pandemic has put some of the traditional recruiting efforts on hold, so IMPD is getting creative and finding new ways to connect with the community and recruit new officers.
I've wanted to be a police officer since I was a little kid.
This is Amanda Tedemarovich. She's a new recruit going through the academy.
Like, I want to help people. I want to be the one that everyone calls when they have a problem.
And IMPD is looking for more people like her, around 60 to 70 actually, as they look to hire their next class.
It's competitive right now across the nation for law enforcement to get candidates.
That's why IMPD is pulling out all the stops as they work to find the best people for the job. They're doing it by foot, walking through the community and passing out flyers. They're holding recruiting sessions online. They're also creating lighthearted videos like this and targeted radio commercials and social media posts, hoping to get recruits that are representative of the community they'll be serving.
We are progressive. We are looking for those different ways that we can be at the forefront of different things in law enforcement.
In fact, their recruiting campaign slogan right now is "Change starts here." But with civil unrest over the past few months and calls across the nation to defund the police, what is it that makes people still want to join?
It just gave me a bigger calling to it, honestly, because now I have even bigger shoes to fill. You know, I've met a lot of amazing officers in the short amount of time I've been here, and the stuff that they've done for the community. You know, I want to be a part of that.
IMPD hoping others do as well.
Now is the time to try. Now is the time to join.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
Well, the deadline to apply to join IMPD is December 19th. We have much more information about the specific requirements and programs to help prepare applicants on our website at WRTV.com. Tonight, we are learning Governor Eric Holcomb and First Lady Janet Holcomb have both tested negative for COVID-19. As we previously reported, the Holcombs began quarantining Tuesday after several members of their security detail tested positive for the coronavirus. The state says Governor Holcomb and his wife will continue their 14-day quarantine and can resume a normal schedule on Tuesday, December 1st. And across the state, there are 63 additional COVID-19 related deaths. That's according to today's report from the Indiana Department of Health. 4,952 Hoosiers have now died with the coronavirus since the pandemic started. And take a look at this graph from the Department of Health. It shows statewide deaths by day. And as you can see, deaths in Indiana are surging right now, and they have been increasing really since the first half of October. And that's why getting a vaccine is so important to Indiana and the entire country. And some good news on that front. Right now, Pfizer is in the process of asking the FDA to allow emergency use of its COVID-19 vaccine. That may mean a limited number of doses could start being administered to people as soon as next month. An emergency use authorization is not the same as fully approved. The FDA will have to learn more about the vaccine before it's officially approved. And to be clear, the emergency use authorization has not yet been granted for the Pfizer vaccine. Meantime, the state of Indiana's vaccine plan calls for healthcare workers and those who are at the greatest risk of death from the virus to be vaccinated first whenever it's available. Many Marion County school districts are transitioning back to 100% virtual learning starting Monday, including Indianapolis Public Schools. So today, the city county government and the education nonprofit, the Mind Trust, announced new funding for 22 community learning sites. Those sites are available for any student who needs a safe, supervised place to attend their virtual classes during the school day. The Mind Trust is committing an additional $207,000 to the community learning sites. They will be available for free to any student until at least January 15th. That's when the mayor's virtual learning order is scheduled to expire. Tuesday at 7 p.m., we are going inside the COVID crisis in Indiana. You'll hear from a 30-year-old man who survived a harrowing battle with the coronavirus, plus the candid conversations with healthcare workers who are putting their health on the line to protect you. And we're talking with the experts, everything you need to know about a potential vaccine. Our WRTV news special, Inside the COVID Crisis, airs Tuesday at 7 p.m. The heartache is never ending for the family of 4 girls from FLORA who were killed in a house fire 4 years ago. The victims' ages range from 5 to 11 years old. WRTV investigates. Rafael Sanchez reports state police still hope for a lead in the case that has shocked a community and devastated a family and a mother.
4 years later, say their names: Kiana, Kiara, Cariel, and Kiani, the sisters killed in an arson fire on East Columbia Street in FLORA on November 21st, 2016. Another painful Thanksgiving with 4 empty seats. Galen Rose is the girl's mother.
I miss him like no other. It's been 4 years, y'all. I had a normal life before that night. And for it to just change dramatically, it confuses me, it hurts me, and I just have no understanding to it at all.
The girl's aunt, Jackie Partlow, still lives in FLORA. This remains an unsolved arson investigation. What do you want the public to know?
We're not going to give up. We're not going to let this case go cold. I won't sit back and allow those girls' deaths to be in vain.
State police say there are no new developments in the investigation. Superintendent Doug Carter says this is not a cold case.
Somebody out there knows, and whether the tips continue to come in, or if they don't, and once they stop, we start all over and we start building again.
5, 6, 7, 8.
The girl's mother is comforted by memories of her daughter's enthusiasm and creativity, which she believes would have served them well during this pandemic.
My girls would not agree with this disease at all. I can honestly say that they would have not agreed with the homeschool. They wouldn't have agreed with the computer work. They would be like, let me out. What is going on? We are not staying in this house.
4 sisters denied a future.
I want my babies here with me.
Victims of a crime that presently needs someone, anyone, to step up and speak out.
That was Rafael Sanchez reporting. If you have any information about this case, this ongoing case, you can call the tip hotline at 1-800-382-4628. A reward of up to $5,000 is being offered to encourage anyone with information to step forward. Thousands of Hoosiers continue to file unemployment claims. Tonight, we're talking about a company that's hiring. And if you're a pet lover, you're going to want to check out this story.
It's the next to last Friday night of the high school football season. One more win to get to the state finals. I'm Brad Brown. We're live at Roncalli High School, where the Mooresville Pioneers are hoping to make a little history. We'll take a look at some of the area's top matchups coming up in sports.
And it has been a pretty dry month of November so far. Some locations closing in on 2 inches below average, but we could erase that in some spots this weekend. Your weekend forecast right after the break. You're watching WRTV News at 6.
WRTV remains committed to scoping out local job opportunities and connecting you to them through our Hiring Hoosiers initiative. Over the course of the pandemic, with all of us spending more time at home, we've bonded closely with our pets and vice versa. I find out that there is a locally owned, family-run animal hospital chain looking to hire and educate workers to handle an uptick in visits to the vet. It's another day on the job for Nate Swegman.
The box for oxygen.
Not every day is easy on the job, but every day Nate goes home feeling like he made a difference.
It's not what playing with puppies and kitties. Unfortunately, most of the time they are sick here. And you have to have that mindset like I want to help them get better.
Nate is a registered vet tech, assisting veterinarians with surgeries.
Today I'm an anesthetist, so I run the anesthesia and all the kiddos having different procedures done, like dentals.
He's been in the field for 7 years, working for Noah's Animal Hospitals for the last 2, and finishing his bachelor's degree in veterinary nursing thanks to the support of managers here at Noah's, allowing him to take his career to the next level.
I was talking to her about maybe going to school one day, and she's like, why not? I'm like, that's a good question. Why not? So she kind of pushed me to better myself to get more education in the veterinary field.
Noah's Animal Hospitals is a family-run business around for 35 years with 9 locations across central Indiana. While the COVID-19 pandemic forced many businesses to downsize or even close, that was not the case for the veterinary medicine industry, not by a long shot.
We have absolutely exploded with business.
Stephen Phillips is the human resources coordinator for NOAA's.
Our business grew exponentially. People were coming in right and left, and a lot of that may have been because they were home more and noticed that something with Fluffy or Fido was wrong that maybe they didn't notice before.
He says now the company needs to add more workers to its team of roughly 250 employees, and it's looking for all types of experience levels for a number of open positions, from entry-level pet care specialists, which includes walking and feeding pets.
She's fully invoiced.
To client service reps, to veterinary technicians and assistants.
I am a client service representative, cross-training to be a veterinary assistant.
Across town, Scarlett West started this job with no experience, just a love for animals. And while she's excelling at one job, greeting clients, scheduling appointments, and answering phones, she's training for another to work more closely with the animals.
Yeah, so they do very well with training and being super supportive and push me to be like the best that I can be. They have known since I started that I wanted to be a technician.
She's on the right path, and thanks to a local Hoosier business surviving the pandemic,
All right, there's that back for you, and they should be back in shortly.
she can remain true to her childhood passion.
Ever since I was little, I've always loved animals. I've never pictured myself doing anything other than working in veterinary medicine.
Well, the pay rate for entry-level positions with NOAA's Animal Hospital starts around $10 an hour. If this sounds like the opportunity you've been looking for, we've provided a link to the NOAA's career page at hiringhoosiers.com. Just search for this story.
And if you're out there maybe walking the dog earlier today, had some nice weather for that. It's going to change a little bit, though, for the upcoming weekend, and maybe head out there this evening before the rain moves in. We've got temperatures upper 50s and lower 60s. We have the clouds around, and there are some light radar returns here as we look back toward the state line with Illinois. So we may see a few of these very light showers sneaking in. Most areas, though, will just remain with those cloudy skies. Temperatures tonight start to get a little bit colder, especially northern locations, upper 30s for you in Peru, 44 degrees in Indianapolis, and about 46 as we look into the Columbus area to start off your Saturday. Temperature-wise, throughout our Saturday morning, look at that. The number is just not going to move a whole lot here, as we will have some scattered showers, lots of cloud cover throughout the weekend. And as we go into our Saturday afternoon, those temperatures are only going to make their way into the 40s. So the 60s are out of here. We will have some more rain chances in the forecast as well. So let's map that out for you with TrueCast. 8:30 Saturday morning, some light rain showers mainly near and south of I-70, as that'll be a little closer to the front. But then as we go into Saturday night, we see that rain lifting back in, filling in, could be moderate at times. And then notice this, by 6 a.m. Sunday morning, areas like Kokomo, Marion, Hartford City might see some snowflakes mixing in. Temperatures, though, will be above freezing, so I don't expect to see any accumulation. And then by middle of the day on Sunday, we should begin to dry out here a little bit with the clouds lingering. Looking at about a half to an inch and a half of rainfall. Those lighter amounts to the north, a little heavier as we work our way to the south. And there are those temperatures Saturday afternoon, topping out in the upper 40s. As we go into Sunday morning, again, we'll all stay above freezing. So if you do see any snowflakes, not a big deal there, but only in the lower 40s Sunday afternoon. Checking out the 7-day planning forecast for you, and the cool air will stick around into early next week. We are dry Monday, Tuesday before some more rain moves in here on Wednesday. Keep that in mind if you've got some travel, but we should dry it out here for our Thanksgiving and 54. Now let's check in with Brad Brown and a big night under the stadium lights there, Brad.
Kyle, Mountain is almost too nice out here as far as week 14 of the season. It feels like it did 7 or 8 weeks ago, but it's the final step on the road to Lucas Oil State in the semi-states tonight. We're down here at Roncalli High School, Class 4A matchup between the Rebels and Mooresville. Roncalli's trying to make the state finals for the 13th time. As for Mooresville, a win tonight would put them in the finals for the very first time in school history. Let's take a look at the Pioneers and the season they've had. They've lost just one game along the way. They're scoring 40 points per game. They've scored at least 34 points in all but one game this season. A dynamic offense led by quarterback Nicholas Patterson, running back Brecken Meyer, getting it done as well. But what's it going to take to get it done here tonight? I had a chance to talk with Coach Mike Gillen of the Mooresville Pioneers. Just his 4th season here. The first season here, they were 3-9. They've worked their way all the way to being the #1 team in the state for most of this year.
It's pretty simple, really. It's a process. We came in here 4 years ago, and
our kids bought into what we were doing. It's very simple, and worked hard in the weight room. We got the job done on the field. We got better every year. We've been to 2 regional championships for this year. Didn't get by those, but we did this year, so still looking to make that last step, though.
Here's a look at the rest of the games involving semi-states all over tonight. There's a solid chance that we could have Central Indiana teams in all 6 state finals. We'll have a recap of these, plus the state finals pairings for you tonight on the news at 11. Purdue's in action tonight. The Boilermakers at Minnesota. They got the Friday night Big Ten game. Purdue hoping to bounce back from last weekend's loss to Northwestern. That game kicks off at 7:30. IU has maybe their biggest game ever for the Hoosiers football program. Coming up tomorrow at Columbus. Number 9 Indiana, number 3 Ohio State. IU trying to get to 5-0 in the Big Ten for the first time in 53 years. Tom Allen's been talking to his guys about believing in themselves all season. They'll need every bit of that when they take on the Buckeyes tomorrow.
That's the biggest thing you have to really work on, and that is our focus. And that is the ability to prepare at a high level in film evaluation, walkthroughs, meetings, all those things you have to do, the practice itself, everything that you do leading up to the game, that can't be, affected in a negative way. And you have to learn to manage and balance your schedule based on the additional things that this type of situation requires and demands.
That game kicks off in Columbus tomorrow at noon. We'll have highlights from the semi-states for you tonight on the News at 11. It's time for another break. Back to the studio to wrap up our Friday edition of the News at 6 next.
Not the greatest timing for the weekend. We do have some rain chances. I don't think Saturday is going to be a washout, and we should see some dry weather returning as we get into Sunday afternoon. But it's also going to be much cooler with highs only in the 40s there. We'll keep the cool air into early next week. Rain again on Wednesday and mild for Thursday and Friday. Thanksgiving, 54.
Up next here on WRTV, World News with David Muir. And then we're back with you tonight for the news at 7.